Tottenham target Dusan Vlahovic is reportedly in a state of almost joining Atletico Madrid, as reports and stories emerge that a total agreement has been found between Fiorentina and Atletico Madrid in the space of the last few hours. However, those reports also claim, although a done deal is very close to being agreed or announced, Tottenham are not out of the race. Why is that, you ask? What's going on with Tottenham? When are they looking to land a new striker? Is it to play alongside Harry Kane? If so, why haven't they bought Kane his new shiny toy already? Or is it the fact that he's going to be the replacement with this pending big bid from Manchester City on its way? We're going to delve into that in a little bit more detail with my co-host Jess this afternoon. On top of that, the AFC Bell has reported that Arsenal Football Club are about to advance or increase or further or push forward, whatever kind of way you want to phrase it, their pursuit of James Maddison in the coming week to try and bring him to Arsenal Football Club. This has sent, for me, big ripples across the Arsenal fan base. There are many outlets claiming that no real talks have happened. It's never been close. There's been no offers made. There's no real interest from Arsenal into James Maddison. And on the contrary, there are many that believe that it's fairly close, that there's only a small differential between the player, the clubs, in terms of an agreement and a fee, and that James Maddison would like to join Arsenal Football Club if a deal between the two clubs could be struck. We're also going to be delving into Paul Pogba's new contract and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's push to get that done. Lautaro Martinez heading for a meeting with Inter Milan in the coming days to discuss his future. Martin Odegaard closing in with a potential loan deal first of all. And could Jude Bellingham be on his way back to the Premier League sooner rather than later? Do me a big, big favor and smash that like button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Here we go. Oh, we're there. Sorry, my system glitched then right at the end. How you doing, Jess? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very well, thank you. I've just seen the playback. There's a really long pause. They're just staring into nowhere. My whole screen glitched. Sorry about that, people. Yeah, I'm very well. Kind of just feel like we're calming down now after the weekend's football. Not really started to build up to this forthcoming weekend yet. That's really going to start tomorrow with the previews and predictions. But transfer news are plenty today that I really wanted to delve into very much we had Dean Jones earlier on from a very, very much a journalistic point of view. Wanted to get yourself on to run the show with me today, talk to the audience, take calls later, because there's so much to delve into. And of course, we're going to talk to James Maddison later. We're going to talk Paul Pogba a little bit later on as well on this show. And viewers, any other stories you want us to speak about, make sure you get your comments in now. We did actually have one from DJ here that says, big up Terry and Jess and everyone in the chat. Any news on Koundé? We will touch on Jules Koundé a little bit later on as well. We will be delving into that. But I wanted to first start with sort of the big Tottenham news that's been circulating in the past few hours, all surrounding Dusan Vlahovic and his proposed move from Fiorentina to Tottenham. Big money move being on the offings. There are reports that Fabrizio Paratici, he's been chasing him, really wants him. They want to bring him across. They're actually working on potentially 2 deals to bring Milankovic with him as well. At the same time, there's been big reports this afternoon that a total agreement has been found between Atletico Madrid and Fiorentina for the signing of the player. But within that report, the claim is the deal isn't over yet, which I find very interesting because it's like, if there's a total agreement, but Spurs are still involved, there's more at play here. What's your take with this transfer of this very talented young Serbian?
I mean, I've watched a little bit of him. I think he's like just a complete 9, a little bit raw, probably needs some development, but he would make sense for Atleti, but he'd also make sense for Spurs if they sell Kane. I think there's a lot of stages to deals, and like just because you say agreed a deal or whatever, that I don't think that necessarily means that things are closed, and I don't think anything is closed with Vlahovic at the moment. If he had the opportunity to come to the Premier League, he'll probably hold out just a little bit to see if Spurs go ahead and sell Harry Kane and he can come in. The idea that Vlahovic and Harry Kane would play together doesn't necessarily make any sense to me unless Spurs are going to go to two strikers up front. That doesn't really seem likely to me. They're both nines, so them playing together doesn't really make sense. So I would imagine that, if Spurs could sell Harry Kane, then they could bring in Vlahovic and maybe make an offer for him, maybe something similar to what they offered for Martinez to try to get it over the line. Because maybe Martinez is staying at Inter, so they have to look in other directions. But yeah, I think this is up in the air still, really.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And look, we can see a report here put out by the brilliant Spurs Web, Ryan Scott, who says Spurs are now expected to firm up their interest in Dusan Vlahovic by submitting their first formal bid for the striker. What I find very interesting about this news is that it's all kind of circulating at the same time as we're expecting this bid to come in from Man City. And as Dean Jones wonderfully alluded to earlier on today, that deal's strange because everyone close, all the journalists and people close to Spurs are saying nowhere near happening. There's a number of kind of muted reports coming out from the Man City side that they're really confident it's going on. I spoke to a journalist today who said City have planned everything for his announcement, graphics, what they want to do intro-wise. Like they are planning. Like when a team might win the league on the last day of the season and they have all the staging behind the scenes set to bring out to do the trophy presentation. Like they're literally at that point where they are so close to wanting to land this guy. I'm a bit like you, though. I don't believe that they're looking to play with two strikers up front. It makes no sense, the report around they're bringing in Vlahovic or Martinez to play alongside Kane. Otherwise, they would just submit the bid already. That would be done. It's to convince Kane to stay. It's like, look who we've already got for you. A nice, shiny new toy for you to play with. We're investing in the squad. Please stay with us. What I will say, though, is, of course, Atletico Madrid are coming in and fighting for him. There'll be a lot of rivals that will say, why would he pick Spurs over Atletico Madrid? It depends where he wants to be. And as we can see here, like there are reports that have come out, and here's a report here that says that Vlahovic and Fiorentina have halted the contract talks. There's an enormous gap between the two parties, and neither know how to move forward with the negotiations. Atletico Madrid have started to look at options as well. So you can obviously see that he's looking for a big money move. He doesn't want to stay in Italy where the money's a lot less. He isn't going to get as much at Atletico Madrid as he gets at Spurs. But what I would say, I've spent the whole day researching him. He looks deadly. He looks like a deadly player, Jess.
And he's really, when Spurs were linked to Martinez, I kind of felt like, obviously, that's a big name that'll get you noticed, but you can't really replace Martinez or replace Harry Kane with Martinez because they're not that similar. If you want kind of like for like, somebody who can play similarly to Harry Kane is a true 9 in that way, but can also do some things on the ball, this is the guy that you should be going for. He's also only like 22 or something like that. So you could sell him on later if you really wanted to. He's strong, he's good in the air. He's a tank, so this is somebody that profile-wise is more aligned to Harry Kane, and it makes more sense, even though Martinez is a big name and it would have been flashy, but they would have had to change the way that they play. And I don't think that that's really what they want to do.
No, I totally agree. And, he's 21, 22. I know he's in his early 20s. I thought I read he was 22. 21, 22, pretty much the same thing. I'm not going to kind of beat split hairs over that. And I think he'd be an excellent player to come in. And what's really interesting is, Alistair Gold has said that we just put up on the screen there that he's now moved to the top of the food chain as the Taro Martinez door is slowly closing and at the moment has fallen through. I do love that part there. At the moment has fallen through. This summer has been probably the worst I've seen for people not being really scared to kind of everything they say opinion wise. There's always an as it stands as of right now. I have to be honest, I've even started doing it because I had some little squirt earlier on, like kind of, I will get onto James Maddison later, trying to like poke fun or twist what I've said around James Maddison into, oh, Terry said it's a done deal. It's like, no, I didn't. I just said James Maddison will join. If you read the whole thread, it makes sense, but they've read the last part. So like, you're always having to explain yourselves because people have got this weird hobby of wanting to try and catch you out. Like if Alistair Gold says the deal for Martinez, the door is closed and has fallen through, and then next week they accept a bid from Tottenham, people go for him. But that's why he puts at the moment, and it gets him a get out of jail free card. It shouldn't have to be the case, but it is. But yeah, Vlahovic looks like a serious deal that could happen for Tottenham. I agree with you. I don't think he's to play with Harry Kane. I would, if I was a Spurs fan, I wouldn't be too bothered about the news of the news surrounding a total agreement with Atletico Madrid, because I feel like, I don't know, it just, that element for me just sort of seems not. They shouldn't completely ignore it, but at the same time, when you read the report here, we'll put it up on the screen for people to make their own minds up with. You know, it sort of says here that a total agreement, there have been no official offers for him. Atletico Madrid have a total agreement with the players' camp, but Spurs are not out of the race. That's another one of the offers as well there. So it seems to me like the striker's trying to weigh up his options, and then once he agrees to where he's going to go, the official bid's going to go in from the clubs. The irony in that is, and we'll get on, and I think everybody needs to remember that point. That is the way that the majority of transfers go. You agree with the player, and then you make the official approaches. That's about right. I think that's what most people agree with now. So, viewers, what do you think? What do you feel? Dusan Vlahovic to Tottenham. Do you see that going through this summer? Hit that like and hit that share button, please. We need you to get that done right now, and subscribe and click on the bell notification button, so you never miss another stream from the Football Terrace again. We are going to open the lines up very, very soon for you all to come on and have your say, to speak to myself and Jess, or Jess and I. That would be the correct, that would be the right way of saying it grammatically. Is that right? Or I think that's the right word. I don't know. I'm a moron. I have no idea. Maddison deal is still on. What the F? Well, that's a nice segue into James Maddison. It's a very, very nice segue into the James Maddison situation, because today, I'll be honest with you, today's been an interesting one when it comes to the news. We had Dean Jones on the show earlier on today. He didn't quite say 100% the deal isn't happening. He alluded to the point and implied very much it's too expensive for Arsenal. It's what he said 3 weeks ago. But what stood out to me hugely is that 3 weeks ago, when Dean Jones said he don't think the deal was going to happen because of money, when Ornstein said it 3 weeks ago that it could be money, that notion was very much rejected by the majority of Arsenal fans on socials. However, now it's almost gone flip reverse. When anyone's saying the deal isn't close, Arsenal haven't really shown much interest, the deal isn't really moving, that's now what's being believed. And anybody that puts out, as the AFC Bell have done today, that talks are going to, he actually spoke 2 or 3 days ago and said that they haven't called the deal off with the Maddison camp. They're going to be going back into the Maddison camp, and now they're going to look to accelerate things and advance things in the next few days. That seems to have really triggered Arsenal fans into wanting to reject the AFC Bell, who, again, 5 weeks ago, I was being told, are like one of the most credible Arsenal sources out there. So I get very confused as an outsider to what Arsenal fans do and do not believe. However, according to the AFC Bell, the deal is on, the deal is alive, and Arsenal are looking to advance it and move forward in the coming day, or it can't be in weeks because it's literally under 2 weeks of the transfer window to go. From your point of view, Jess, what's your interpretation of the James Maddison situation?
It feels really similar to last summer when we knew that we needed one midfielder. And I think there was a difference in opinion, maybe between Edu and Arteta, which midfielder that should be. We knew that we were in for Awa and we were also in for Thomas Partey. I know they play different positions, but we were going to only bring in one midfielder. And basically, how Edu likes to work is he wants to have one secure thing in the bag for him to fall back on, you know, a deal that's easier to do. In that summer, it was Thomas Partey because it was a release clause that's much easier to do than actually to negotiate. And then he tried to negotiate with Leon all the way up until the last minute. It fell through, and then he got Thomas, and then it was like, boom, here's your signing. It's the exact same thing. You know, Odegaard is an easier deal to get done. They can offer a loan, you know, with some sort of option or obligation to buy. That's easier to do. Get that secure, and then go after your number one target, try to negotiate, probably fail to do so because I don't think we have the money. I really, really don't, because I feel like the club is prioritizing maybe Ramsdale, something else. I don't really know, but I don't think they have the money necessary to do it. They'll try to, bully Leicester. It won't work. It'll fall through. Go for Odegaard because it was always there, and then act like we were never interested in Maddison to begin with. That's what it looks like to me. It's not that I don't think that I think we have the money, but we need to plug a couple of different holes, and we're not smart enough to just ditch the Ramsdale thing, throw it all to Maddison and just move on. Our issue is never really people don't want to come to us. It's that we're not smart. We get to the very end and we just crumble, so that's what I kind of see happening. Like, once we don't get Maddison, Ornstein and everybody else will come out and say that we were never interested. It's already happening now, or the intermediaries were kind of pushing it, because they wanted a fee or whatever, and they thought it was a good opportunity, but Maddison's not interested in coming. He is interested in coming. He wants to, but in the end of the day, he'll see that Arsenal are not serious and we'll mess it up, and we'll end up with Odegaard on a loan. That's pretty much like set in stone in my mind, but we are interested in Maddison. It's obvious.
Yeah, for me, I completely agree. I think there's a lot of semantics, a lot of politics, and a lot of smoke and mirrors going on, and primarily right now from fans. I think fans are more guilty of this now than the journalists are. The way I'm seeing people try and, as I say, I did the show on here, and I remember sharing something afterwards when Dean Jones said that he didn't think the deal was going to happen, and basically said money is the problem. I shared it, and I remember I copied in like Eduardo and a few people. Oh, what's your thoughts on what was said? And all they did, and it's fair play, they're entitled to do what they want to do, is bring up screenshots of when Dean Jones said that the Pepe deal wouldn't go through. And I was like, okay, so you totally believe this deal is on? Yes. Now, a lot of those same people, not Eduardo to be fair, but a lot of those same people are like, I can't believe people still think the Maddison deal's on. It's like, but at least 3 weeks ago, you were abusing somebody for suggesting that it may not happen because of money. I think when you cut through all the nonsense, all the BS, all the different reports, and everyone gets different information. Everybody has a different view and opinion. What I read when I cut through it all is this: the player would like to join Arsenal, because I don't think Arsenal would still be circulating in any way, shape, or form. The club would have actually distanced themselves from the player. What you are getting a little bit of is, it was never close. Yeah, but then we look over at the Vlahovic deal that we were just talking about, and how they're working on the player before they officially go to the football club. That's the way it works now. And according to the AFC bill, they're now about to accelerate communications between, official communications between the clubs are to gain an upward momentum. Now, obviously, that's the translation between the language that it's written in. So it may not mean those words exactly, but it's like, well, upward momentum. They've definitely had contact before. We've seen the likes of Chris Wheatley, who are very well respected in the Arsenal fan base, only a few weeks ago talk about a number of bids being made. I think one of £50 million, and definitely, he said, around player plus cash offers. Now, we know that intermediaries are going to be used, and that's the other thing we're seeing spun now. Intermediaries, there's been no official contacts. It was more about an intermediary trying to make money out of this situation. But if Arsenal and Leicester and Maddison were not interested, they'd have told the intermediaries weeks ago to fuck off. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, let's cut through the BS, and stop trying to protect our clubs here for a moment and seek the truth. If Arsenal, it's all in Arsenal's hands for me. If they bid an adequate amount of money to sign Maddison, the player, in my opinion, will agree to join. And I tweeted that earlier, and some guy said, but Terry, that's how all transfers work. And I'm like, who has put this sawdust in your head? Because we've seen a Koundé bid from Tottenham get accepted. We've seen a Pau Torres bid from Tottenham be accepted, but twice the players reject. And that's because Tottenham have gone about the deals in the wrong way. They've gone to the club before they've secured it with the player. And what's happened to them, though? They've been laughed at. They've been ridiculed because, you got rejected. Every club tries to avoid that now. So I think if it's true what the AFC Bell have said, and they're accelerating again with a further bid, it's even more evidence that I need that James Maddison will be willing to join, because Arsenal would have walked away from this weeks ago, because you're the best club in the world for PR, if there was no chance of it happening in any way, shape, or form. And I'm just getting frustrated now at fans that want to just, every 5 minutes they change their tune, and all they're doing is trying to protect their club. And I do understand it, but then in the same time you're protecting your club, you're protecting bad practices at your football club. It's mad to me, bro.
Yeah, it's so funny because some people are saying Odegaard is the number one choice. People closer to the club obviously say that Odegaard is number one and Maddison is number two. How does that even make sense? How? How is Odegaard your number one choice and Maddison is second if he costs more? Like it doesn't make sense to even work in that way. Maddison is the number one choice. It makes sense from a footballing perspective, from a price perspective, from a how hard it's going to be to get this deal done perspective. And Adu, we don't want to overpay. That's what it is. I really do think that the club has a specific number in mind, and they probably want to use add-ons and things like that, and Leicester's probably holding firm. But the reality is you're going to probably overspend to get Maddison into the club. Where you know what I mean? Like it just
Mhm.
is what it is. Leicester don't have to sell. They can hold firm on whatever they want. So if you're not ready to actually play, then get out. Like it's just ridiculous. But Maddison is the number one choice. You guys don't think anything different. He's cost more, he's better. It's Odegaard is what he is. Like he just is the second choice. And maybe it's Adu wants Maddison and Arteta wants Odegaard. That could be it. But there's definitely a hierarchy here, and Maddison is number one.
And do you know what I think? The number one story, I remember everybody saying that, and this is the irony, and people forget this. Me and you had this fight, we call it a fight, debate, when everyone tried to spin that Odegaard was the number one when you missed out on Buendia. And I said the same thing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah, and this is what people forget. It's only 2 months ago, and I was sitting there scratching my head, and I was having gooners everywhere tell me that I was being a hater. When I was like, hang on, so Martin Odegaard is your number one, but you put an official bid in for Buendia first, and everyone's like, yeah, because well, like, if he was your number one, like people keep saying, oh no, but we didn't know whether Real Madrid were gonna keep him or not. Well, then you still wouldn't put the bid in for Buendia, would you? Because if you landed Buendia, then your number one, and then your number one target becomes available. And by the way, that was very early on in the summer. There's a long time left. It didn't make sense. Buendia for me was in front of Odegaard at that point. Now maybe then the number one target become Martin Odegaard, but then it became evidently clear quite quickly that the James Maddison deal was worth pursuing. There was encouraging signs coming from Leicester. Arsenal were encouraged they could get this deal done, as per Pete O'Rourke. And a lot of what he said at the time of him saying it was then being not confirmed directly. Chris Wheatley wouldn't tweet and go, Peter O'Rourke is right. But his stories, and there was a lot of very, very similar stories from very credible journalists out there. And suddenly Odegaard was not being mentioned, and it was all about James Maddison. They've now gone back to Odegaard again because it's the easier deal to get done. And he may have been the number one choice at one point. And I think that's the kind of what they're pulling from. It's, he was the number one choice many, many months ago. So they're only getting back to it now. But since then, other people moved in front of him and Arsenal haven't landed them. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be excited about Odegaard. I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate getting him. But it's this false narrative, very much like the Aubameyang situation. Aubameyang re-signed a deal with us because him and Mikel Arteta are like Bezzy mates. And it's all turned out. Now they're fighting. Now he wants to get out. You all drunk that Kool-Aid and believed that this was all about.
Not all.
Well, most, the majority. And I like Arsenal as a football club. I do, and I feel sorry for the way you've been run. I know a lot of Arsenal fans that get on with a lot of on my show, but it's like wake up and smell the coffee here. And for me, it's like you may end up with Odegaard, decent signing, but don't be twisted into thinking he's better than James Maddison. He was your number one target all along, and all that. Like it's just a nonsense for me. It really is. Jess, Maddison was subbed off with a hip injury a few days ago. Are you not worried about that?
Yeah, I mean, am I worried about it? Yes, a little bit. His injury record in terms of the hip issue, it's a recurring kind of thing. So yeah, and those are hard to get over. But at the end of the day, like rotation needs to be better, I think. I think some players just need more rest. They need more rotation. And with Emil Smith Rowe, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. The reality is if we want Maddison, we're going to have to spend the money. And there's always pros and cons to every single player. And yeah, he may have some injury issues, but I feel like if the club is going this far in, they know about the injury issues and they're willing to take the risk. It doesn't, I think fans, we worry about injuries more than clubs do. I think we pay a lot of attention to it because, especially with Arsenal fans, because, we've had so many injury issues in the past. But if it's manageable, then it'll be fine. I don't know. I think he's good enough of a player that you kind of take that on. If that was, I don't know, maybe a maybe I'd say walk away, but I think Maddison is good enough where you kind of take that and just hope that Emil Smith-Rowe can sub in for him and be good enough.
Yeah, and I hear you on that. Look, I've said it all along. I think James Maddison is a player that Arsenal Football Club should be bending over backwards to get, and they should be breaking the bank to get, and they should be fighting tooth and nail to get. Yes, there are definitely some injury concerns, but I wouldn't, like you just said, I wouldn't be too I wouldn't be too concerned about them if I indeed was an Arsenal fan. But we'll see. Viewers, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this. We are going to share the link now in the live comment sections for you to phone in to ask any questions or to have your say on these transfers. But what I'm really interested in, I put the poll out earlier on today, is very much about the AFC Bell. Is, do you trust the AFC Bell? Are Arsenal trying to sign Maddison? 60% say no, they're not trying to sign Maddison. 40% are saying they are trying to sign Maddison. I want you to listen. I've got my opinion. Jess has got hers, but this is no echo chambers. Feel free to phone up and have your say. I'll say it again when it comes to James Maddison. I stand by what I'm about to say. If Arsenal put in an adequate bid that's accepted, I believe James Maddison would join Arsenal Football Club. I've read too many reports, spoke to too many journalists, listened to too many fan opinions this summer to change my mind on that right now. I believe it's in Arsenal's hands. But that is the same very reason why I think a lot of Arsenal fans don't want to believe in what the AFC Bells and everything of this world are saying right now because, oh, hello. Sorry, everyone. Hello, what's that?
I got my tooth fairy.
You got your tooth. You put your crown on. Show everyone. Wow, look at that. Don't you look good? Don't you look good? You say hello? No? All right. Well, Daddy's going to go back to... Oh, I've got another one. Hello, mate. You going to go there? Hello, baby. Come do a cuddle. Big boy. There's Jackson. You can say hello. Say hi.
Oh.
Saying hello. Bless you. All right. Daddy's got to work. And I'll speak to you all in a minute. There we go. It's that time. It's that 5 o'clock time. Home from school. But yeah, as I'm saying, that's the reason why I think some Arsenal fans are disbelieving the AFC Bell, because they know if they believe it, it means it's in Arsenal's hands. And then if Arsenal don't land him, it's on them. At the moment, with what a lot of other journalists and YouTubers and content creators are saying, there's this element of, but it's an impossible deal. And if it's an impossible deal, then it's not our fault if it doesn't happen. Where, I believe, I truly believe in my heart of hearts. I said this about the Rafael Varane deal. I said this Jules Koundé deal is the same. These deals are in the hands of the clubs. As soon as the reports come out that a player is willing to join and it's coming from some credible places, it then becomes about the buying club getting the deal done with the vendor, with the seller. But listen, you can phone in now. You can have your say. I've just shared the link for you to phone in. I'll pin it to the top of the show as well. But make sure you've smashed that like and share button. Remember, you may not necessarily agree with everything I say or Jess says, but that's not the point of the Football Terrace. The point is for you to come on and have your say, to discuss and debate things. If you're too much of a child or emotionally unstable to listen to somebody that has a difference of opinion, honestly, I don't so much believe in God, but if he does exist, I will pray to him for you, for your soul to be saved, is what I'm saying there. In other news today, Paul Pogba new deal. Paul Pogba new deal. Reportedly, this is something that's really being pushed hard for by my manager's name. What is it? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He wants to get this new deal tied down. I wanted to run this by you, though. So the maths on this is very interesting. Paul Pogba is looking at a new deal around 400k a week for at least 4 years. That's about 80 million pounds. However, the replacements we're linked with would cost around 50 million and would come in on around 150,000 pounds per week, making that new deal around 80 million pounds. So a lot of people are talking about letting him go for free is bad business. But on a cost front, letting him go for free and replacing him is going to cost the club about the same as giving him a new deal. That's why when people say, well, you can't afford to let someone go for free, it's not necessarily true, because net spend isn't real. Clubs don't work in a transfer spend model. It's expenses against the player that they look at. What do you think Man United should do, Jess? Should they give Pogba this new 400k a week deal, or look to reinvest that money in a younger model in a year's time?
Yeah, I'm not a big math person. I'll leave that to you. Let's talk about like just from a footballing perspective. I think I would let him run his deal down. Just because I feel like he adds value in the short term for you guys. I think he helps you guys, and I think he'll help you guys win something. But at the end of the day, like I think nobody can really say that there's not a lack of maybe balance in your midfield that needs to be addressed at some point, but you may be able to address it better once Pogba's helped you win something, you know? So if it's going to cost about the same, why give him a new deal? You need something else in that midfield. And it's not just from like you need to get him off the books in order to bring somebody in. It's about the balance of your midfield is not right. Right now, it's just the quality is just, it's working, but there's definitely something missing. So I would say it's better to just let him run his deal down. Hopefully he can push and help you guys win something. That would be the best case scenario. Let him go for free, then replace him with somebody that balances out your midfield. And that seems like the best option in my opinion. Why give him a new deal? You know what I mean?
No, I listen, I look at it. I think we should give him a new deal, but I also understand it from the business front. And you've got to look at what is Paul Pogba going to be in 2 or 3 years' time.
Exactly.
And that's what Man United have to weigh up here. 400 grand a week on a new 4-year deal is 80 million pounds. You could buy a replacement for all costs included, including salary, for the same amount of money. So I think fans need to drop this notion of we should sell him now if he doesn't sign a new deal because we can raise money for him. It's
I mean, and you have to think about like the teams that would want him after, like, let's say after he wants to leave you guys or after you guys have given him that new deal and you want to maybe sell him, they probably will have filled that position already. You know, I don't see a lot of clubs like wanting, not saying Pogba's bad, but let's say he declines after 2-3 years, you guys want to sell him. There'll be new and comparable players that people can probably get. So what are the chances? Somebody will still take him, but the clubs that he probably wants to go to, I think they will have already kind of filled that hole. Like even PSG, they'll go after Camavinga instead. Boom, done. They don't need Pogba anymore. So I think you guys are in a position where you could probably just let him run his deal down, you know, but you want to give him a new deal. It is what it is. I don't see a need to, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real conundrum. The worst thing you want to do, and I understand it, is give him 400k a week, and then in 18 months' time, we're looking at an Aubameyang or an Ozil situation where he's less effective. You know, you have to take into consideration how quickly he's going to age in terms of on the pitch. And it's not that I would like to give him a new deal. My personal preference as a fan is give Pogba a new deal. Best midfielder in the world. First Man United midfielder ever to get 4 assists in a game. Let's get it done. But I also worry about in 18 months' time a big injury happening, and then you're stuck like we've seen Arsenal with and a few other clubs where they have these big salaries, players they can't move on, and they hold up the production line. So
they fall off cliffs quick too. Like sometimes you don't even see it. It's just bam, like that.
Yeah, most certainly can happen. But I would say right now I'm 80% new deal, 20% let him go. When I'm weighing all things up. But viewers would love your thoughts and your feelings on that right about now, please, ladies and gentlemen. Should he be getting a new deal? Also, there's the Lautaro Martinez news that's circulating today as well, which I think is really interesting. Fabrizio has been kind of really pushing this a lot in the last few weeks, which I totally understand about new deals. He isn't leaving. He isn't moving. A lot of, especially Italian outlets are pushing, not leaving, not leaving, not leaving. Do you think Lautaro Martinez is going to sign a new deal in the next week or so?
I don't know. That's a weird one because just like last week, I was thinking he's definitely up for sale. What's happening? I mean, I could have sworn Spurs put in a really good offer for him. So I'm not really sure, you know, why he would stay knowing that they're going to go through such a difficult period that I don't think it's just going to be alleviated from a couple of sales now. I think they're going to go through some tough times. So it still kind of feels like there might be a little bit of an opening there. I think you read out, I think it's Alistair Gold's like tweet that the door is closing. It looks like it's closing now, but like there was still something there, maybe. But what are Inter looking for? Like, is it that they haven't received an adequate bid? Because I saw it was like 70 million from Spurs plus add-ons would make it go all the way up to 90 million. What are they looking for? You know, what would make it more attractive to let him go? You know, that's a good, I thought that's what they were looking for in terms of fees. So, oops. Yeah. What would keep them from selling now?
There's a proper landline. There's a proper landline in Jesse's house. Do you know what's interesting? You put that up. So they got offered 70 plus 20, 90 mil. And that was offered before. This is why I don't trust anything Inter Milan say. And people forget little details. I don't. Well, I do, actually. That's not true. But on this case, I'm not forgetting little details. They said during the Lukaku, in that week building up to Lukaku joining Chelsea, the rhetoric was, and the story was, if Atletico sell Martinez, they won't sell Lukaku. If they sell Lukaku, they won't sell Martinez. But their priority was to keep Lukaku. So they got offered an adequate price for Martinez weeks before they got the bid for Lukaku. Why didn't they accept it? I think they are holding out. Will he sign a new deal? This is prediction here. This isn't anything I've been told. I'm not making any claims about, I spoke to a source, or Dean told me this, or Pete said that, or Sasha said this, or Christoph told me that. No. I think if he signs a new deal, he signs it after deadline day when he hasn't got his move through. I think Inter Milan are doing everything they can to try and hurry the Arsenals and the Tottenhams along to make another bid. I'm not sure why they didn't accept the bid prior for him. Maybe they wanted like 70 odd million as a what actually is 90 million in euros into pounds. I assume that's about 78 mil. I think. I'm going to check what that comes out with now. About 78 or 77. I've heard they want 78 to 80 as a flat fee, not as add-ons. So maybe that's the whole reckon here. The one thing I'd say about Inter Milan this summer, where I'd give them credit, is that they've sold Hakimi and Lukaku. Even though they're in financial ruin, they've got really good money for them. They haven't like sold them at a stupidly low. They didn't sell Lukaku for 35 million quid because they were about to get their TVs repossessed. Do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of look at it that way. I still don't think it's dead and it's over. There's too much noise about it. If that makes, do you get where I'm coming from? There's too much noise about it for me to 100% that it's over.
I don't know. I feel like I'm swaying a little bit. It feels like maybe he'll stay. What are they waiting on? I'll tell you right now, if they're waiting on Arsenal to make a better bid, they can go ahead and just accept Tottenham's. It's not coming, you know? So maybe they're waiting out to see if there will be a bidding war. It's not happening, you know? I don't know. I'm a little bit like they're not going to sell him. And KJ is saying that maybe he just wants to stay at Inter.
He may. Do you know what I think it is? Because he's linked to Tottenham and Arsenal that are not in the Champions League. I think people find it hard to believe it. If you're in the Champions League and the scenario was the same, I think there'd be more. If it was Man United chasing him, if it was City chasing him, listen, don't rule out City coming in. Don't rule out City if the Harry Kane situation falls through, switching their attention to Lautaro Martinez either. Like legitimately, that could happen as well. So, yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how this one plays out. Look, he very much could stay at Inter Milan. My head's the other way though, because Inter Milan have lied to us at every step of the way this summer. And it's the boy that cried wolf for me. Even in this situation, they said we would rather sell Lautaro Martinez than Lukaku. But you got an adequate bid in 3 weeks ago. The English press said it was accepted. Now the Italians are saying that it wasn't accepted. I don't get it. I think that's because I think the way they're going to try and spin it, if they sell him, is we rejected the bid earlier on in the summer because it wasn't adequate, but the new bid that's come in is a lot more money. So although we didn't want to sell Lautaro Martinez, although he leaves us with a heavy heart, we couldn't afford to turn this deal down. That's how they're going to spin it. Equally, I feel like you may not. I don't know whether we'll learn this before or after the window shuts. If he leaves, I bet you a story comes out that says he rejected a new deal, so that Inter Milan can also say he didn't want to stay with us. We had to sell him for you because he didn't want to commit to this football club anymore. It's just how, I don't know why, and it's probably because they've lied. Like, legitimately, I feel like they've lied. Somebody here says, according to Fabrizio on Twitch, no official bid from Spurs, but Atletico bid 50 million euros plus add-ons for Vlahovic. Yeah, I mean, that could very well be true, Mike. And thank you for your lovely tweet earlier on today. Really appreciate that. And that may very well be true. I think what's also going to happen is Vlahovic's waiting to say. I think the Harry.
He's going to wait.
Yeah, the Harry Kane situation seems to be. He'll wait to a certain point. It's a bit like Tammy Abraham, because Tammy Abraham was waiting for days. He was waiting for days for Arsenal, and then you guys just didn't come in.
It's Lacazette. I've been saying Lacazette. Every time somebody says we're linked to the striker, I'm like, has Lacazette gone yet or no? That's literally what it is. Like, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You know, and for Vlahovic, I mean, why wouldn't he wait to see if he can get to the Premier League? You know, I would wait a little bit longer. If I was him, I'd wait a little bit longer. It's not like, look at La Liga at the moment. Atletico is a really good team, obviously, and they're making big moves, but like the league is what it is, isn't it? You know, you can go to the Premier League and get in there, you know, so even if it is Spurs, I could see him waiting, especially if he feels like Kane might be going. And I still think there's a huge possibility that he goes to Man City, and that's just it. You know, and Martinez maybe does end up staying at Inter. We'll see how it pans out. But I still feel like, I know Spurs want Martinez, but Vlahovic is the direction you need to go in if you lose Kane, because they're similar. The guy is really, really good. Martinez is good as well, but it's not a good profile fit for me.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with it, with the Harry Kane situation. That's not dead either. I don't know where he's going. I just feel like people that, I'm not annoyed is the wrong word. It makes you sound like an old man. I'm frustrated at the people that are just so unyielding. Definitely not going, or definitely is going. It's like, no one knows that, bro. Like, literally no one knows that. You can have my opinion is based on X, but these kind of sweeping statements of 100% isn't happening. It's like, do you know what's the transfer window? Like, when we've got linked to Rafael Varane, no way he goes Man United. Do you know, I don't know. Like, just be open-minded to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, these things could all happen. We're going to take some calls now. We're going to get some people on to have their say. Make sure that like button is smashed. Make sure you've shared this stream across your social media platforms, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Indiana. We've got Igal. We've got KJ to come on. We've got James backstage. Matty backstage. Do you know what? The first call that we're going to do is from Playboy Mbappe 7. Because this, hang on. Nice. Nod your head, though. Are you over 18? Are you over 18? You're not, brother. I'm sorry. You can't. You look a bit young. I can't have you on, my friend. I'm so sorry. You look scattered. I'm sorry. But unless you're an adult, I can't have you on, because, like, you're a kid, innit? I can't be chatting to kids on the internet. That's a no. Just a little message here. Don't chat to kids on the internet. No. Lautaro Martinez under Pep would be special. He will be the perfect Aguero replacement.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, anyone in that City team could be special, unless you cost £100 million from Villa. Listen, we're going to bring the panel on now to have their say with my co-host today, Jessica Black. Hit that like and that share button.
Why is my name not in that little box?
Be honest.
Why does it say caller guest?
I didn't. Do you know what? I didn't make it, but I've just been sitting there. We've been talking so much, I didn't do it. I have made one now. It was my fault, right? Because I'd always forget. I did that with the journalist I had on recently. We went live and I didn't have one that was ready for him. But what I'm going to do before we bring anybody on is I'm going to multitask now and just finish off making it while we're still talking. While we're still talking, though, I would like your views and opinions on Jules Koundé to Chelsea. Do you see it happening?
Yeah, I still say, why not? Like, why wouldn't it happen? I think it will happen. I mean, what would stand in the way at this point? Haven't Sevilla already replaced him at this point? So they have their replacement. Chelsea can afford it. He wants to go. Why not? You know, I see that one happening, and they definitely need a center back. So, like, no shade, Chelsea fans. I know you guys are coming. Like, we don't need a center. Yes, you do. I think it would happen.
No, I think they definitely need. Another centre back, and I think Chalobah's very, very talented. He's done a very, very good job, but there's no doubt about it that I don't think they should put too much pressure on him being the guy to like
Exactly. Yeah.
change things up too much. I mean, keep having both there. I think having them both there would be much more sensible. So
Competition is key as well, and depth for them, obviously being in like a million competitions. So I think the Chelsea way is to go ahead and buy somebody, even though you have good talent coming through your academy. I can see them doing it.
A comment here said Sky Sports have reported that Zuma could be going to Tottenham. And look, Tottenham have been looking at a centre back that could potentially happen. That's what Chelsea have been waiting for a while now. That it's been reported for 2 weeks. FFP plays a part in this. They have to sell some players before they bring people in, and it was one of the reasons why. Again, it's going to come out in the woodwork at some point. The reason they didn't bid more than they did or offer more than they did for Haaland, which I think definitely happened, is because they had to weigh up financial fair play, and it wasn't just the initial outlay for him. It was the wages and then everybody else's increases around the club on top of that when they all want pay rises. Those things really do matter. Igal's going to be on with us in a few moments. A lot of people are calling for him. A lot of people are calling for him right about now to come on. Igal, come back. I don't really get that. Igal, where are you? Where's this coming from? Like, loads of people are saying this. They're going to be on with us right now. But
he must have said something.
Maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't see it. I'm just seeing everyone chat about it.
Let me see what he did.
By the way, your name's up in lights now. There you go, Jess.
There we go. That's better.
That's good. Right. Let's bring everyone on to have their say. There was KJ doing backstage. What's wrong with you, KJ? KJ's not. I know what KJ's saying. I know what he's saying. Let's do this, people. What's wrong, KJ?
No. What is this? Where's my name tag? Where's my name tag? How many times have I been on this flipping show, doing my thing, and I don't even get a name tag, but Jess just sits there all pretty, and you're like, oh, let me get one for Jess.
You didn't ask.
I'm upset.
Hey, Jess, ask, you don't get.
I'm okay with you, Jess. We're cool. Me and Terry got words.
Bruv, you've got your own show.
I was going to say the same thing, man.
I've got you some work for Friday as well. Like I do a lot for you, KJ. Like, let's have it right. There's a lot of unpopular opinions out there about me that are always false, but I help my people, But I will I'll get your name right. Igal's got his own intro. Do you know what I mean? And it's there. Indiana, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I wanted to speak on the Pogba news because Pogba was never leaving, in my opinion. I don't think he was ever leaving. I think he'll get a new contract. The amount of money that he will... What's wrong, Igal? He's not leaving.
Hang on. Before we do that, 1 second. Igal, why is everyone coming for you?
Because I left in the middle of Monster Stream to come here because these guys were abusing me.
You ran.
Oh, right. Okay. You're getting called a snake and everything. And I was like, I wondered what the hell was going on. I wondered what the hell was happening. Like, and then there must have been something somewhere that went on, but there we go.
Can I say my Maddison thing? And then, so these guys aren't on my case.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I still think there's possibility that Maddison could happen, but that would mean we'd have to find a way to get Neto from Barcelona as a backup goalkeeping option, or somebody else as a backup goalkeeping option. And this whole Ramsdale situation is making things worse because I don't know if we're going to spend the money on Ramsdale and get Maddison. I don't think it's really possible that we could get both of them. And I still think the Maddison money is still allocated and available, the 50 million that we bid for him in the first place, and the Joe Willock money could help us get him also. But everyone's saying I'm chickening out. I'm not chickening out. I'm still here. I'm always going to be here. I'm not one of those guys hiding every single game. And those Chelsea guys are coming after me because you know what? We're probably gonna have a tough game, and that's why the game's not sold out against Chelsea. But hey, you guys got your own club to worry about. Leave us alone, man. Arsenal, we know we're in a problem. Leave us alone, guys. Let us live.
I hear you on that. Like, Indiana, you spoke about it already. When it comes to this James Maddison situation, there's so many contrary reports. One, do you think they are in for him? And secondly, do you think James Maddison would choose to go there?
It's a bit of a mad one, right? Because Leicester, they've got a great project, a great manager. I don't need to speak about Arteta really when it comes to that. And I think he's key. He's key to Leicester. I really rate this kid. I think he's great. Will he do things for Arsenal? I'm not sure. I think there's huge problems at Arsenal. If I'm a footballer, I'm not wanting to go there. I'll be honest. I don't get the move to Arsenal apart from the fact that the wages could be bigger, the profile of the club. Because let's not forget, it is still a big club. Arsenal is still a huge club in world football, not just the Premier League. Can I see it happening? I can see it being strung out to deadline day. If it does happen, I think it'll happen last minute. You've told me, Terry, that Maddison wants to move, so you know maybe it will happen. I just don't know. I don't know why they would be why they would be going for him. I think there's bigger problems on the pitch than a creative player there. I think personally, I'd be spending the money on a striker. I'd be spending the money on a centre midfielder, a midfield general who's not going to take anything on the pitch. When I've seen them play Brentford, they're losing every aerial duel. They're getting bullied off the ball. And why? Xhaka's not even picking up a card. If that's my midfielder and the team are playing like that, I'm expecting him to get a red card. Put those tackles in. Fight for your team. No, seriously. Terry, you know this. If that happened at Manchester United when you had Roy Keane on the pitch, is Roy Keane walking off that pitch at the end of the game, or is he getting sent off? He's not taking that. Like, you've got to show something, show some sort of fight. I'm seeing Pepe making more key passes for Brentford than the Brentford players. It was terrible. It was shocking. Like, there's no fight in this side at all. Maddison for me is not that player, and I think they need more leaders on the pitch. If I'm honest, I don't see why they would be looking at Maddison.
I do understand that train of thought. Do you know what? Another player that stems to mind though when it comes to this Maddison situation, I can't help but think of the Thomas Lemar circumstance. Thomas Lemar wanted to join Arsenal. Was promised the whole summer that he could join. We're going to come in for you. We're going to go big for you. And they left it until the last day of the transfer window. They ended up bidding £100 million, maybe just under, maybe just over, in and around that figure. And the player said no because he didn't feel that he had enough time to like consider what he wanted to do. He was shook. He was about to go and play an international game. He wasn't ready for that to come through because he thought they'd given up on him. If Arsenal are in for James Maddison, and everyone's going to believe different stories and different rumors, and then what's ironic about it all is, or annoying about it more than ironic is, you know, everyone guesses or everyone makes an opinion based on the information they read. And everyone then just sits there praying that they're right, which I find very strange. Like, I don't really care if I'm right or wrong. I think if they put an adequate bid in, he goes. However, if they leave it until deadline day before deadline day, maybe James Maddison still says no. Maybe then he changes his mind again. And that would be typical Arsenal. In the end, succumb to that pressure. Maybe they get beat in the next two games by Chelsea and City. And they go, oh, do you know what? Let's just bid 75 million. Let's get it done. And then Maddison says, do you know what? I've kind of made it up in my mind now that I was going to stay at Leicester this year. And I've decided to stay. That's where Arsenal will frustrate their fans massively because they did it to Thomas Lemar. Now, look, Thomas Lamar's not gone on to have the career that many predicted, but maybe he would have done if it had gone to Arsenal. So, yeah, for me, it's very up in the air. How about yourself, like KJ? Like, where's your head at with this deal?
For me, he ain't going. He's not going. Just for the simple fact that Arsenal are not dealing with Crystal Palace. They're not dealing with Brighton. They're not dealing with Anderlecht. They're dealing with Leicester. One of the hardest teams to deal with when it comes to buying their players. We all know this. We've all seen this already. Man United, look how long it took to get Harry Maguire. And in the end, we end up paying a record fee for a defender. Are Arsenal really going to be in that position to be like, let's pay close to 70, 75 million for Maddison? No, I don't think they will. I don't think they want to do that. And I don't think Edu and the man them there don't have the power to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, Leicester are no pushovers, and they will literally fight you tooth and nail until they get what they want. And so, yes, you had the £50 million bid rejected, and yes, you've sold Joe Willock. But if you're going to buy Ramsdale with that Joe Willock money, where does a magical 25 million come in to go help with this deal? I just don't see it happening. Like, could it happen? Yeah, it could. Like, flipping, I could be rich tomorrow if I win the lottery. But if you go on percentages, I'm saying 80% that Maddison stays at Leicester because Arsenal, they ain't ready to be dealing with Leicester today.
KJ, do you know the other thing as well? When you think of James Maddison and you think of the money that Leicester are asking for him, does he strike you as a player that's going to just sell shirts? They're going to fly off the shelves. Like he's not. I don't think he is. I don't think he's a marquee signing.
You're underestimating Arsenal fans. Yes, they will buy the crap out of Maddison shirts, man.
Yeah, they will.
I don't know about that.
Madison, and that's why I can see Maddison happening if they lose more, even more so. I can see it happening if they lose their next 2 games and get battered. So I spoke to Dean today. I spoke to a few other journalists about the rumors of Arteta being sacked. When it was being linked at the weekend, I went straight out and what's going on, what people were saying. And everyone I spoke to said very unlikely after 1 game, very unlikely after 2 or even 3 because of who they're playing. More a Christmas thing. It's more of a, again, if you go on a 10-game losing streak, maybe it'll happen sooner. But it's by Christmas, if things haven't started to improve, then they may look to move him on. But it would be typical Arsenal to lose the next 2 games and then throw the money at Maddison. But this is where Arsenal fans wind me up. Arsenal fans will then start to celebrate that. We got Madders buying the shirts, getting the name on the back, putting the money. It's like I would still be angry. It's like if you had the money to do it 8 weeks ago. Like there's one thing about Man United this summer, and I said this about, and we've got to have another year, maybe 2 of it before I agree that it's fully embedded. But the speed of which we got our main 2 deals done this summer have been brilliant. Would I have liked another one? Yes. Was it hard to do? Absolutely, because there's not a lot of European clubs buying players at the minute. They're in financial difficulty across the board. It's hard to get rid of players. Everybody's struggling to get rid of their players. It isn't an exclusively Manchester United thing. Liverpool, who have the best footballing director in the business, currently can't sell their players. So I'm not going to hold that against Man United this year. And I know that's also a struggle for Arsenal Football Club. But Arsenal Football Club are rich enough for a year at least to like front those costs to bring up a player or 2 in. They have that money. And that's where I'd be annoyed as an Arsenal fan going into the season if that isn't done. But viewers, we want to take your calls now. Lots of you waiting backstage to have your say. We're talking James Maddison to Arsenal. We're talking Vlahovic to Tottenham. Massive potential deal there for a superstar in the making. Jude Bellingham we're chatting about. Could be on his way back to England next summer. Chelsea heavily looking at him. Man United starting to gear that up there. We're talking Lautaro Martinez, Paul Pogba's new deal, Martin Odegaard, whatever is on your mind, phone into the terrace now. But smash that like button. I can't believe we're on nearly 2,000 live viewers, but only 375 likes. That's almost that's shameful to me. Honestly, I'm going to have to go look my kids in the face in a minute, and they're not going to call me dad anymore. They're going to call me Terry, and I can't have that. So smash that like button now. Let's get it past at least 700 before we end today. I'm serious. My kids start calling me Terry. I'm coming for you, Walton. I'm not coming for you, but just hit the like button, please. Just get that done before you forget. Right. Next caller we're getting. Who we're going to go to first? We're going to go to Dag. Dag, long time since you've been on the show. Welcome back to the terrace, mate. What are you saying?
What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. What do you want to say, buddy?
Just a couple words about the Jules Koundé deal, and then hopefully the Jude Bellingham information that's been coming out. Jules Koundé, I mean, look, I love Trevor Chalobah as much as the next Chelsea fan. You know, his new insurgence into the team has been really refreshing, something that we've needed because we've had all of our most of our young stars come out into the attacking phases. We've had Tammy, Mount, Callum, and so now it's good to see more defenders coming through as well. Yeah, we had Tomori, but then he ended up having to go. And yeah, Reece is there, but we've needed more insurgents in the central defensive part because this is one of the most important positions. And with this new system that or not so new anymore, but with the 3 in the back that Tuchel looks like he's gonna keep on using, which, like I said, he was gonna keep on using if we won with it. And now it looks like we're gonna be needing more help. And yeah, we have all sorts of players in those positions. We have Rudiger, we have Christensen, Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, but it's really starting to, in an ideal, it's really starting to get, we need to get younger. In an ideal year, we wouldn't have to see Azpilicueta playing as much as he did last year. Thiago Silva, he's not supposed to be playing, 30, 40 games at that age right now. So really him and Aspi are there to be more of a voice in the locker room than more of actually, having to play on the pitch. That's my personal opinion. Others can think that, they can play whenever they want, but I personally feel like the more they play, the easier it is for them to get injured. So having Koundé come in will help ease their way out the club a little bit easier. Not in a sense of, selling them or releasing them, but in a sense of them not having to play as much so that they don't risk themselves getting injured even more. And so Jules Koundé, unlike Zuma, is a very, very good technical footballer. With the ball at his feet, he's very good. Yes, he isn't, 6'4" or 6'5" or 6'3" or whatever, but he's still really good in the air, even though he doesn't have that height, such like a Zuma. And so, and unlike Rudiger, he's not as rash, right? So we're losing. If he comes in, he's going to look to play in that right center back role. So we're already lacking height in that role with what's his name? With Aspi playing there the past year and Reece James substituting in for him at times. So it's not like we're really going to be missing anything more. And Chalobah, he's done great, but realistically, I would love for him to get another loan to a better Premier League club, because before these past couple games, the Super Cup and the first game against Palace this weekend, he would have probably gone to like Billy Gilmore did, to a Norwich side, a Norwich.
Yeah, I think you're right in so much what you're saying there, and I'm not having a pop here at Chalobah, but I think people need to calm down. He's been brilliant for a few games. I remember seeing Paddy McNair at Man United. His first 2 games under LVG, he looked wicked. Tyler Blackett was amazing in his debut. Man United, look at Adnan Januzaj, like Kiko Makeda. I'm using my club as an example here. I think Chalobah's got a lot of talent. I think he could go on to be a brilliant player. But to cancel Jules Koundé because of 2 good performances, I think is an absolute madness. Dag, great call though, mate. Thanks for coming on and having your say. Top man indeed. We're talking transfer. We're talking James Maddison. Will he go to Arsenal? Pav is on the line now. What are you saying, Pav?
How's everyone doing, man? Hope you're all good.
Yeah, very well.
I just want to talk a little bit about Arsenal and then Pogba. I think Arsenal fans, they need a signing, because since they've had that loss against Brentford, they've been fighting each other all over socials. I see on a daily basis, just like there's so many divisions at the moment within the Arsenal fan base, and it's only 1 game in. And if you're doing that now, good Lord, what's going to happen after Chelsea and Man City? Yeah, I think they need a little buzz around their fan base, but it all depends on what they're trying to bring in, because there's a lot of reports of what they're trying to do. Odegaard, Maddison, Coutinho. I know, like, Fabrizio said something about the Coutinho thing. There's nothing in it, but I mean, there's always people talking about it, so you never know. Yeah, they really need something, but I always think that the 2 people that they've got in charge of transfers, Vinay and Edu, I don't think they got a clue what they're doing. The other day when I super chatted, I said, who's worse, Ralstonelli or Edu? I think they're a bit of both clowns. Like, I don't think they've got an idea of what they're actually doing. They need to bring someone in.
Yeah, Pav, they're both frauds in one way, shape, or form, if you know what I'm saying, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Allegedly, get that in there.
Allegedly, shaving money off the top of that.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully there's something there for Arsenal fans soon. On the Pogba thing, I'm coming to the realization that I'm going to back him for the season. Ideally, I've said before, if he doesn't sign by January, I don't really want... that's like previously what I said was that I didn't want him playing. I wanted someone to take the position who was going to be here long term. But the way that he started off on the weekend professionally, I don't believe he'll down at all. So I'll back him to the end of the season. I do want him to sign a new contract. I do get that in his mind. I think he's a bit torn, that he wants to stay or he wants to try challenge elsewhere. I always think that his plan was to like be here for the 5 odd years and move on. But I desperately think he wants to win a trophy before he goes, if he wants to go. But it also depends on if he wants a lot of money.
I hear you on that, Pav. Like, from your point of view, KJ, what do you want to see happen with Pogba? Would you invest? It's going to cost 400 grand a week to keep him here. That's Pogba's been very unyielding on that. That's wherever he goes. So he isn't going to sign for a club. Again, unless nobody offers him that money, he'll have to reassess. But he wants 400 grand a week. Would you invest 400 grand a week over 4 years? That's 80 million pounds for the next 4 years to keep Paul Pogba. Would you do that, KJ?
See, this is a mad one still because everyone knows I love PP, and but also just what just for saying about the balance in the midfield is completely valid. I've asked the question to many Man United fans: will we ever have the balance we're seeking for in midfield if Paul Pogba was still here? Now, if he remains on the left-hand side, then you can say yes, that's possible because he's not playing in that spot. But then you got to think about what happens to Rashford. How do we improve McFred and who else goes there? Donny van de Beek and all that. So that's a different conversation. If it's down to me, I would say, Paul, listen, you've had whatever time you've had at United. You now need to tell me what you want because there's this still thing of he wants to sign, he wants to leave, he wants to sign, he wants to leave. My brother, tell me what you want. Because if he gets to January and you're still up in an R-in, I've got to be like, I've just got to let you go. I've just got to let you go because you're not giving us something here. I need Paul Pogba to say if he wants to stay or if he wants to leave. I would personally, if he said I want to stay, I'll give him the money. I would. But if he's still in an R-in, I'm just like, okay, you still want a part of you wants to be elsewhere, which is fine. I'm not one of these people. It's like, how dare he want to leave to do X, Y, Z? No. If he wants to go, let him go. I'm at peace with it. I'm fully at peace. If he leaves, I'll just be like, I'm glad to see him grace our football club. That's all I would say. But yeah, I would give him the money only if that he said that he wants to say. None of this trying to force him, trying to convince him. What is there to convince? It's been 5 years. Like, you should know. But yeah, but if we end up letting him go, I don't think it's the end of the world. It would hurt because I love him, but I don't think it's the end of the world. We can find players to fill different kind of roles in the squad. So
yeah, I hear you on that. Listen, Pav, great call, mate. Thanks for coming on and having your
Cheers,
say.
man.
Thank you very much indeed. I wanted to ask you, Indiana. I know you love a striker. I'm going to get his name wrong again now. Dusan Vlahovic. He's obviously linked with Tottenham. He's linked with Atletico Madrid. I've been watching a lot of footage of him today. He looks dangerous and deadly. What kind of signing do you think that would be for Tottenham?
I think it's a great signing for Spurs, actually. I think Spurs, they sell Harry Kane. They obviously need to get more than one player because there are holes in that side. But I think he'd be a great signing for them. I don't really see any negatives with signing him at all. Personally, I felt that they would have gone in for Danny Ings. I thought that with all this transfer sort of news over Harry Kane, they would have snapped up Danny Ings because he was pretty cheap. He's a great goal scorer. And as Danny says, devil in the details, they probably need more than one striker. Like Harry Kane is that level. They probably need more than one option. So me personally, I think it's a great deal. Go and do it.
Yeah, and I mean, do you think? What's your opinions, both of you? Do you think that the likes of the Martinezes and the Dusans, do you think they're replacements, or do you think they're to play with Harry Kane? Where's your head at with that?
Replace, bro. There is no way Spurs are buying, like spending 50 million plus on players just to be part of the team. Like they're replacing Harry Kane. Because again, where are they getting this money from? Where are they getting this 50 million, 60, 70 million for these players, or one of them, to play with Harry Kane and then add the wages on top? They've just given Son a new contract. So I think if they get one of them, Kane's off because I don't see them trying to make it work. With
I think he's off anyway, KJ. But for me personally, if he wasn't off, he would have been on the bench at least. I think he's gone.
A lot of people pulling on that. We're going to take a few more calls here. We're going to get Matt on. We're going to get to Josh on first. Josh is an Arsenal fan. James Maddison, do you believe the AFC Bell or do you believe everybody else? What are you saying, bro?
Yo, what are we saying, man? Yes, I believe AFC Bell. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about how shit my club is. How on earth did we lose to Brentford? Honestly, I am just embarrassed being an Arsenal fan. We are such a disgrace. To lose to Brentford shows how rubbish our club is and also shows how far we've dropped from being the best team in the world. Well, one of the best teams in the world to just being plain shit. But anyway, Yes, I believe AFC Bell 100%. But apart from that, yeah,
I wouldn't worry, man. I think Arsenal are going to surprise people. I actually think they're going to take points off of either Chelsea or City. I think it's the most Arsenal thing to happen. I really do. Look at Jesse's face. Seriously, I think it's the most Arsenal thing to happen. Right? You get slapped by Brentford. You go and take points off of Chelsea. All get gassed all over socials, giving it to all the Chelsea fans.
Oh God.
Play well against City and then get slapped in your next game. Who is
No.
Palace
Yeah,
or someone.
that's
what will happen.
That's too far.
No, man.
No, it's too far. They will get points off Chelsea. They don't make it past City. Every time they play City, they get pammed. They've got an agreement where Arteta says you can beat us, but don't embarrass us too much. And it happens.
That's why they let him go, wasn't it? That's why they let him go. That's why they let him go to Arsenal. That's
that guaranteed. Do you know what though, Indiana? I don't think you're too far from the truth. Really, it's like I said this. I've said it 100 times on here in the last few years. I said it before the Euros. It weirds me out when people are just so unequivocal, unyielding, one-track minded when it comes to predictions of games. The reason football is the greatest entertainment in the world is because it's just not it isn't predictable. And look at last year when Arsenal played Man United. The reason there was those take your time with it celebrations is because that was such a shock. It's true. It was such a shock that you beat us. It was like you couldn't believe it. When you beat Liverpool and City back to back to win. Oh, sorry, City and Chelsea back to back to win the FA Cup. Like these things happen. So I wouldn't completely write Arsenal off from winning these games.
I don't care about beating Man City. Like, who cares about that? You need to be able to beat the smaller teams. Like, nobody cares.
Exactly. Thank you. Spot on.
I don't care.
Arsenal in a position where you just have to take what you get. Like seriously, if you get a win, you need to celebrate it. Otherwise, just stop watching.
Why?
No,
you need to celebrate winning. Still,
yes, I understand.
Celebrate winning.
I understand you want to beat the smaller teams, yeah, but it's getting a bit techie still. So, like Indiana said, just
it's not going to make a difference in our. It's not like if you lose to Chelsea and Man City that one it'd be shocking like it was against Brentford, or it's going to do anything to our.
But Brentford loss isn't a shock either.
It doesn't matter. Like my biggest issue is that we're not taking care of the smaller teams. So this whole you guys need to get something against Chelsea. No, we don't.
No, you don't. I think you will. I think you will.
You will. Like it's not a need. You will get something out of Chelsea. It's just the way that your team is, and it's pretty peak. Like
I think that new Xhaka deal is going to lift the whole side.
Oh come on, I'm taking the Xhaka. Oh no.
Josh, top man, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much indeed. Legend. David Perkins here, one of our members and super chatters, says, I miss Arsenal's pretty football. Maybe they should sign Jess.
Oh, thank you.
There you go, Jess. Can you play football, Jess? Can you actually kick a ball?
We've never spoken about this. I used to play.
You did?
Wait, just the baller as well. Arsenal, sign her up.
Wait.
Another one in TFT.
I can't find it.
Hang on.
So I do have pictures.
So what I'm going to say is this. So obviously we launch our new show on Friday night. Everyone tuning in Friday night, 6 p.m. Make sure you're here on the Football Terrace. Tell your friends and family. The brand new show, Friday Night Terrace, it's called. Very creative. Is launching. We're going to be in the new studio. We're going to have a nice packed. Who are we going to have on the show? I'll go for a little bit now, actually. So we've got Marlon Harewood, who's going to be in the studio with us, talking all things transfers, football previews. We're doing a massive Arsenal versus Chelsea preview on the show. We're going to have Hope in the studio. We're going to have Tade in the studio. Daniel in the studio. Adam Charles, he's suddenly free to come into the studio. Adam Charles is back. KJ is going to be there. I've got the list up here. Gunnar King, Winter Surfer. Winter Surfer's going to be in the studio. Who else is going to be in there? Neeks is going to be there. And 3 or 4 others. I'm just waiting for confirmation. Plus, the Give Me Sport crew are there as well. So a big group of people. Dwayne's going to be there. And one of our members, Dwayne's going to be there as well. We'll be previewing that. But then you're going to see the launch of a brand new game called Tire Techers. Tire Techers. Now, I'm not going to be telling you too much, but it's me versus the main guest every single week at Tire Techers. So, Jess, we've got to get you over. If you think you're such a baller, you have to take on the man.
Show me on the big screen really quick. Put me on the big screen. I have receipts. I have receipts.
I want to ask the viewers one question. Who's winning at Tire Techers, me or Jess? I want you to get your comments in now, people.
Jess.
Put you in the big screen. There you go.
Can you guys see that?
Wait,
That's me.
Hang on. Your light's in the way. Oh, look at that. Put it a little closer to the thing, please.
That's me.
hey, go on now.
You've got the same forehead. It's there.
Is my forehead supposed to change? Is it supposed to change?
My forehead was smaller when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? It's got bigger as I got older, you know. So.
Jess, was it the armband as well? Were you captain too?
Oh no.
No,
Definitely
what was that?
not.
Before I saw the
No, that's just the way that the thing is. But yeah, I used to play.
Mm-hmm.
I was good.
Oh, okay.
It was.
We're gonna have to get everybody together and just have a big 11-a-side game, man. We have to do it.
Yeah.
I will be watching. I'm not because I'll lose my powers if I play.
No, you can be our Berbatov. That's what you can be.
Oh, no, Indiana. I need to see proof. I need to see proof of you being good because man's a coach. You can't trust these coaches that say they used to be good, fam.
Don't worry about me, KJ. I'm playing with you. You can do all the running.
I take Freya to little kickers, right? And most of the coaches, you can tell by the way they move around they kick a ball that they can play. That's the girls and the guys. This is one of the coaches whose name I'm not going to mention. I don't know how he's got a job. He doesn't speak about football like it makes sense. And he doesn't have any of the kick gear. Like he's got the hoodie on they all wear. But he wears the maddest jogging bottoms that are not football. Like you can't wear them to play football, and they're too thick, too heavy, too baggy. And he has like Gola like little boots, and he's fallen over twice trying to demonstrate how to kick a ball. And it's mad. It's like I asked the guy, "How did he get a job here?" And the guy just looks at me and shook his head like, "I didn't employ him." I'm like, "But he doesn't know football. It doesn't make any sense." You know what I mean?
He's a volunteer. He's got the paperwork, right?
Yeah. Can I come? Test. If you want to come to the studio, send me a DM. I'd love to get you in the studio for the first show. But Friday night's going to be really good, people. It's going to be fun. There's going to be some games. A game called Is It a Blur? We've obviously got the Tire Techers to come on. We've got a PlayStation challenge, FIFA challenge that we're going to be doing on the night. Tire Techers, as we mentioned, big discussions, big debates, lots of arguments. It's going to be. I'm very, very. I'm scared, but I'm very, very excited about the launch of Friday Night Terrace. KJ,
it's going to be amazing, man.
It's going to
be incredible.
I play football with Jace, my guy, bruv.
There we go. Nice one for the super chat, my bro. I appreciate that. Absolutely appreciate that. There we go. Listen, everyone who's I know there's loads of people waiting backstage. I'm sorry I couldn't get everybody on. I'm very, very sorry. I know you've waited very patiently. I apologize. I'm back later on tonight. I've got a football consultant coming on tonight at 9 o'clock to talk about Harry Kane to Manchester City. Exclusive live update on what's going on with that situation. So 9 p.m., make sure you're back here at the Terrace, plus other transfer updates as well. So make sure you're here. Test looks like he's going to be in the studio. We're going to get to meet Test. I'm so intrigued tonight. It looks like legit. Like it's going to be amazing.
We're going to have Test and have Hope. You get that, right?
In the same room.
In the same room.
I've always thought they're the same person, just with different accents.
I think you should just go the whole hog and get Safe and Prime and everyone just go for it.
Safe is not coming. My stalker is not coming. Like legit, he isn't coming down there at all. I think there might be some more people coming down. Cam might be coming. He's got to get it sorted out. Maybe Alan Clark will be. We're trying to get some of the boys from Never a Foul down as well. So if you do fancy coming to the studio, still a few places left in the audience, drop me a DM or a message and we'll get you onto the guest list for the opening of Unit 7 and the brand new Football Terrace show. Javern's actually in there from today working on getting everything set up, software done. The intro, hopefully we're working on, is going to be quite nice as well. A little homage to the Terrace. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you this evening. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.